Iron Man, Captain America, Hulk, Barbie? It might sound crazy, but an Avengers trip to Barbieland might not be totally out of the question. Greta Gerwig's Barbie is taking the world by storm, and it looks set to become one of this year's biggest movies. The existential take on Barbie lore is also refreshingly weird, with the film exploring variant versions of the main characters. Nowadays, this concept is more typically associated with superhero movies, which begs the question, will Barbie ever join the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
Avengers! Assemble.
Marvel and Barbie do have a history after all. Between 1991 and 1996, Marvel Comics released 2 series dedicated to Barbara Millicent Roberts, Barbie and Barbie Fashion. These comics are slice-of-life affairs about the titular character and her friends embarking on adventures while teaching wholesome morals to younger readers. In some ways, they're comparable to the squeaky clean era of Archie comics, which also told stories about teenagers just being young, moralistic, and carefree. Sadly, the Barbie comics don't boast any Thanos-like supervillains who want to destroy humanity, but the characters do come up against some rich industrialists, creepy magicians, burglars, and evil Frenchmen. Elsewhere, the adventures mostly involve things like aerial photo shoots and sailing trips on Barbie's dreamboat. Meanwhile, the issue's front covers boast phrases like poodle pandemonium and dancing dilemma. So yeah, it's not exactly Infinity War. As you may have guessed, Barbie never quite crossed paths with the Avengers or their fellow heroes. That said, it isn't uncommon for Marvel Comics to license the comics rights to established pop culture dynasties and keep them separate from its superheroes and original creations. Barbie's Marvel era was short-lived in the grand scheme of things, but that doesn't mean she can't technically join the MCU in some way or another. Unfortunately, it probably isn't going to happen anytime soon, mostly due to a few pernickety rights agreements between Mattel Films and non-Disney entities. Basically, Warner Bros. Pictures currently owns the distribution rights to Barbie, while the MCU is controlled by Disney. As such, Barbie won't be able to join the Marvel family unless an agreement takes place that allows all of the relevant parties to work together. Sure, there might come a day when Mattel Films will be able to collaborate with other studios regarding the Barbie franchise, but they're living in David Zaslav's world for now. Theoretically speaking, Barbie is currently more likely to join the DC cinematic universe, which, in fairness, is exactly the kind of wacky idea that might actually appeal to James Gunn's sensibilities.
What's with the javelin?
I'm waiting for God to tell me.
Jesus Christ.
Of course, Disney and Marvel Studios do have a history of making the seemingly impossible happen. Once upon a time, the Spider-Man franchise seemed destined to remain in the clutches of Sony Pictures, but all parties have been able to work together and make Peter Parker a centerpiece of the MCU. So as far as Barbie goes, never say never, but don't hold your breath either. At the same time, maybe it's best to leave Marvel and Barbie's collaborative efforts in the pages of the comics, as these stories don't need to involve superheroes to be great. In that regard, it's worth pointing out that, while Barbie's introduction to the MCU would be beautifully weird, she doesn't need to mingle with superheroes to be super. The beauty of Marvel's Barbie comics is that the title character is portrayed as an aspirational heroine, whose victories are of the everyday variety. For example, Barbie number 3 sees her enter a figure skating competition only to compete against jealous opponents who steal her footwear. That doesn't stop Barbie from overcoming the odds though, as she creates some modified skates and delivers a flawless performance. Elsewhere, Barbie Fashion number 18 tells a simple story about the titular character helping her friend overcome her fear of the dentist. These are just a couple of examples of the wholesome tales that define Barbie's Marvel Comics era. Barbie is no stranger to globetrotting adventures in the Marvel Comics, but she also finds magic in everyday mundanity. Sometimes, those adventures are just as exciting as any super heroic crusade through the cosmos.